I'm Kelly Sweeney and I'm one of the founding members of Separate Church and State. This broad campaign came about from our Dublin Midwest Together for Yes group. And our basically main aim is to build a secular republic for the people of Ireland, regardless of their religion, so that all people's rights and beliefs, their human rights and beliefs are upheld. So I don't know if anybody's listening, but yesterday on News Talk, one of our members sent in a letter to Dr. Kira, and basically what he said was, and this is going to resonate with a lot of people who came here today: Dear Kira, my wife and I and our 2 young children are attending the Separate Church and State rally this Saturday in Dublin. We lived in Dublin for 20 years and were eventually forced to move out due to rising house prices. We now live in a rural area, and although we love the area and the peace and quiet of the countryside, we have come to realise the Catholic Church still has a very strong hold over the rural population. We are a non-religious family. In Dublin, before we moved, our children were enrolled in an Educate Together. The nearest Educate Together is now an hour's drive from us. Our son is opting out of religion in his primary school. We were told that this was not a problem and all children of all faiths and beliefs were welcome. The reality of this in a small rural school is the children who opt out sit in the class with everyone else listening to the religious dogma. They are not allowed to do anything else except colour a book and listen. We found out recently that the local priest called into the school every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, to ensure that the children are saying their prayers at appropriate times, and that the teachers are teaching religion at the designated times. This is at noon, which denies the parents the possibility of removing their child from the religious classes. Out of example, if they were at the end of the day, this can be facilitated. My son is learning prayers several times a day in school despite our wishes, as he has no choice but to sit there and listen. Every single day he is in contact with a priest who comes in to inform the children that in order to be good they must say their prayers. He is coming home telling me that the earth was created by God in 6 days and that he watches everyone. I find it hard to believe in 2018 that this is occurring in an education system funded by the Irish state. We are still letting the Catholic Church, with its diabolical history and record of child abuse, physical, sexual and mental, continue to have access to our youngest children on a daily basis. When our children are at their most vulnerable and susceptible, they should not be exposed to doctrines that can neither understand or escape from. We will attend the rally and any other rally that supports the separation of church and state. We will vote for whoever facilitates this process the quickest. And I have no problem with anyone practicing their religion or faith, and I think ultimately it should be private and a personal thing and should never be forced on a child by another in a position of power. But I am aware of the reality of life in Ireland, and I would at present have been happy with the option of my child to opt out in the school. This is not possible. Richard Boyd Barrett made a very good point in a recent speech in the Dáil to the Minister of Education. He suggested replacing religion and education with philosophy. I think this is a wonderful idea. It would solve all the problems and offend no one. I hope you will read this out. So I suppose what I want to say about this is that this man is here today, and this man can't actually stand up here and say this himself, of fear of his child and himself being ostracised within their community and singled out within their community. And this is a huge problem we're having, is that parents' voices aren't being heard in this. And if they are saying stuff on a local level, they're afraid they're going to, rattle the cages a bit and their child's going to be treated differently. And this is why we're standing here, and we're trying to be the voice for the people who can't actually stand out and speak out about this. So who are we? Who is the Separate Church and State people? They just came out of nowhere. So we're a broad campaign. My name's Kelly Sweeney. I'm one of the founding members. There's quite a few of us. One of our members, Aisling, she was meant to be standing here speaking today, but unfortunately she's unwell. But she's in a similar situation. Her children are opted out, and then they're ostracised on a daily basis. So since the foundation of the state, religious basically the church have influenced our constitution, and it's meant suffering for generations of people living in Ireland. We believe that a person's faith should not influence whether they receive an education, healthcare or a job. These are basic rights that should be available to all. I don't know whether Mary touched on this, but when you're studying to be a teacher, you have an option. You either take it's an elective, so you either take the Catholic teaching, or it's a non-religious module. And the teachers are opting to take the Catholic module because they won't get a job if they don't take the Catholic module. So they're being discriminated against. So we want to see state schools run as secular schools. So this would mean no religious ethos in our schools. And we want to see all public hospitals to be run exclusively by the state and not religious orders. And we want the state to conduct a full criminal inquiry into clerical abuse, and for those found guilty to face criminal prosecutions. The church, they control everything. It's written into our constitution. They're protected. There's an Article 44(6). And basically it states in not so many words that we cannot seize their assets. So they're protected. So even though they haven't paid into the redress scheme, we can't take what they owe the people that they made suffer. So we want to see more constitutional amendments removing law influenced by religion to ensure that Ireland becomes a secular republic. And I just want to thank everybody for turning out today. I know it's small, but this is how these big things start, you know.